This video is going to be about converting measurements from one unit to another. There are different ways to do this, and ALEKS and the textbook both show how to just multiply. And for some people, this is a struggle because they can never remember you're supposed to multiply or you're supposed to divide. So there is a system called unit analysis, or some people refer to it as dimensional analysis. This is a technique that's like a system for converting measurements that the nursing department has asked us to teach. You use this in chemistry. So there are some places in the future where you might use this particular system for converting measurements, or find the facts to use for your factors. This is much easier to use if you have a two-step conversion or more. It's very simple. Instead of doing repetitive math problems, you just set up one problem and you can do it all at once. So the value of this is both in nursing, chemistry, and then when you get to two-step conversions, it's much easier if you know how to use unit analysis. So here we have Tammy drinks 2 pints of milk a day. So we've got 2 pints. How much is this in cups? So what we're doing is we're switching from 2 pints, and we want to know how many cups. So it's going to equal 2 pints equals how many cups. The way this system works is I have to look for the equivalence of pints and cups. So in this chart, I have it right here. In ALEKS, they give you that conversion. If you're in a textbook class with the same kind of question, you can use this in ALEKS too. You can use this conversion sheet, and this is something you can use on the test and you can use on the final exam. And what we have on here is at the top of this sheet, we have within US customary units of life. Within the kinds of measurements that we use, if you're switching between cups and pints, it'll be on this chart. If I'm just kind of orienting you to this sheet, if it's in metric and you want to use unit analysis, you can use these. If you want to use the prefix line, here's the prefix line. So when you're converting within metric, you would use this center part. If you're converting from US to metric or metric to US, you would use the chart down here. We're going to have one example that comes from down here, so I'll show you. So part of it is you have to know, are you switching within US or are you switching from US to metric? On this one, we're switching within US. So I would have been looking up here, and I'm looking at pints to cups, which is right here. So 1 pint equals 2 cups. Here I have 1 pint equals 2 cups, same thing. What I want to do is make a factor. If 1 pint equals 2 cups, I could say 1 pint over 2 cups, and that equals 1, because this divided by this gives me 1. Or I could say 2 cups over 1 pint equals 1, because this over this divided by this gives me 1. Anything divided by itself gives me 1. So I can multiply 2 pints times one of these so that I end up with cups. I'm not changing it, not changing its value. I'm just changing its label, its unit. And when I change its unit, the number's going to change. Kind of like if I wanted to take 2 pints and I wanted to turn it into fourths, I would multiply it times 4 over 4. Same idea here. The key is if I'm going from pints to cups, I want pints on the bottom and cups on the top. So I'm going to put the pints on the bottom, and I usually do it this way. I'm going from pints, so I'm doing green just so you can tell the color or keep track of it. I'm moving from pints to cups. So because I'm moving from pints, the pints is going to go on the bottom. I'm going to cups, cups is going to go on top. And then I pick the one that matches. 2 cups equals 1 pint. Now, if you remember math, when we multiplied with a fraction, we could put a 1 under here. We just multiply straight across. But we can cancel before we multiply, right? So pints can cancel with pints, because pints divided by pints gives me 1, and that makes it be just a 1, so it's irrelevant in the math there. So then my solution is 2 times 2 is 4. No measurement unit, no unit times this unit gives me cups. 1 times 1 gives me 1. And really my final answer is 4 cups because anything over 1 is itself. Let's walk through another one. I'm starting out with Tom cut 2 feet of tape. How much is this in inches? So I have 2 feet and I want to know how many inches. So I look at my chart here and I see feet to inches is right here. If I look at this sheet, I have feet to inches. 1 foot is 12 inches. You might already know that one. So if I'm switching from feet, I want feet on the bottom. I'm switching to inches. So I want inches on the top. So when I set this up, I need feet on the bottom, which is 1 foot equals 12 inches. And now I multiply. I can cancel the feet. 2 times 12 is 24. 1 times 1 is 1. So I have 24 inches. This next one, those were both switching within US customary. This last one is switching from, it says a gas station is 12 kilometers away, and it wants to know how far is the gas station in miles. So I'm switching from 12 kilometers. The abbreviation in metric is the first letter in the prefix, and then the first letter, this is the prefix, this is the measure. So we're measuring, this is 1,000 meters. So kilometer or kilometer, depending on how you say it. So 12, this is the abbreviation, the K and the M. I'm going from kilometers to miles. I want to know how many miles that is. Miles is MI, meter is just M. So part of this is learning the abbreviations too. So it tells me 1 mile. I'm going to do my miles in purple, my kilometers in green. 1 mile. So I'm going to have miles has to be, nope, I don't want miles on bottom. I want kilometers on bottom because I'm starting with kilometers. So whatever's here goes on the bottom and the miles is on top. If I had done that, see if I had set that up wrong and just multiplied across without taking all the steps, I could have easily gotten that wrong. So 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. And what happens for a lot of these is you get into a routine and you think, oh, just multiply them, just multiply them. Well, this time I don't multiply them. The kilometers cancel out. And I have 12 times 1 on top. And the kilometers canceled out. I'm left with miles, which is what I want. But then I have 1 times 1.6 in the denominator. I'm not done yet. I can simplify this. I can take 12 and divide it by 1.6. And this is where if you think you just multiply, you can go astray because this time you're dividing. So it's 7.5. So my answer is 7.5 miles. So sometimes you won't be given that chart, even in ALEKS. Sometimes it's just words. So here we have, today is DeAndre's birthday. He's 8 years old. So we're talking about 8 years. And they want to know how many in months. So I would have 8 years equals some amount of months. So because I have years here, I want years on the bottom. And I want to end up with months. So I have months on the top. And I know that 1 year is 12 months. So here I know I'm going to multiply because I'm going to go ahead and multiply and those units cancel. 8 times 12 is 96, carry the 1, 96 months. One more. So this is 75 square meters of carpeting and they want to know how much that is in square feet. So 75 meters squared. Now the 75 isn't squared. This is an indicator. This is a measurement of squares, not just distance, but square area. And you want to end up with square feet. So feet squared. We say that 1 square meter, so meter squared, one of those is the same as 10.8 square feet. So when you see this square feet, square meter, all it's saying is that the unit is squared. The number isn't, so we don't have to worry about that. That'll cancel. We're going to end up with feet squared. So it's going to just be 75 times 10.8. So 810 feet squared or square feet. Here we're switching from 32 fluid ounces of lemonade to pints. And here we have fluid ounces and pints in 2 steps. So first I have to move from fluid ounces to cups, and then from cups to pints. So I'm going to have fluid ounces to cups, and then cups becomes the green one. It goes on the bottom. Actually, I'm going to do it like this, cups, and then to pints, I'll use black. So we're going to end up with pints. So when I look at the conversion, I have 8 fluid ounces to 1 cup, and then 2 cups to 1 pint. So if I just multiply straight across, fluid ounces cancel, cups cancel. Here I could do some canceling ahead of time so I don't have to reduce, but since I'm using the calculator, I'm just going to go ahead and multiply the numerator. So I get 32 times 1 pint. I have 32 pints. And then on the denominator, I have 8 times 2 is 16. Then I can take 32 divided by 16. 32 divided by 16 is 2 pints. Pablo cut 6 yards from a coil of rope. How much should he cut in inches? So if I'm starting out with 6 yards, I'm going to go yards to, and all it gives me is feet. So I'm going to go yards to feet, and then it gives me feet to inches. And when I look here, I have 1 yard is 3 feet, 1 foot is 12 inches, and that's going to leave me ending up with inches, which is what I want. Yards cancels, feet cancels, so I have 6 times 3 times 12. Let's do one more. Here we have 24 cups of chicken broth to make chicken soup. How much is this in quarts? So I look at here and I have quarts to pints, and then I have cups to pints and pints to quarts. So I'm going to have to use these two. On this chart, you'd find the same thing. If I'm going from, it wants me to go from cups to quarts, I would find cups to pints, pints to quarts. So I'm going from 24 cups to some amount of quarts. So I'm going to put cups here and pints here. Then pints goes in the denominator so it can cancel to quarts in the numerator. And I have 1 pint is 2 cups, 1 quart is 2 pints. So I'm going to multiply straight across. I'm going to cancel ahead of time. Cups cancels cups, pints cancels pints. Again, I could do a canceling here. I could do, like when we multiply, I could say this is 2 times 2, which is 4 times 6. And then the 2 would cancel with the 2 would cancel with the 2, and I'd have 6. Or I could have multiplied across 24. 2 times 2 is 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So that is unit analysis or dimensional analysis. Again, that's helpful for 2-step equations. And that's helpful if you just can't figure out is this one of those things where I multiply, or is this one of those things where I divide?